Jake Morrison stood in the center of the huge room. The walls curved up and around him like a giant bowl. Hundreds of alien creatures sat in rows, looking down at him. Their eyes were all different colors and shapes. Some had 4 eyes, some had none at all. But Jake could feel them all staring at him. The room was called the Galactic Unity Station. It was bigger than any city on Earth. Jake had been amazed when he first saw it 3 days ago. Now he just felt tired. He wore his best blue suit with the Earth flag on his chest. The flag looked small and plain next to all the bright colors and strange symbols the aliens wore. Jake was the only human in the room. He was Earth's voice in this place. At the front of the room sat the most important alien of all. His name was Vexthan, and he looked like a tall, thin tree with silver bark. When he spoke, his voice sounded like wind through leaves. "The Council has made its decision," Vexthan said. His words echoed in the big room. "We have talked about this for many days. We have looked at all the facts. We have heard from 847 different species." Jake's hands were sweaty, but he kept them. At his sides, he had known this moment would come. The signs had been there for weeks. The whispered conversations that stopped when humans walked by. The meetings they were not invited to. The way other ambassadors looked at them with fear and anger. "Humans are dangerous," Vexthan continued. "They do not follow the rules. They do not respect our ways. They have been in our galaxy for only 10 years, but they have caused nothing but trouble." In the gallery above, Captain Lisa Bennett watched the scene below. She commanded the human ship New Horizon and had brought Jake to this station. Next to her sat Dr. Kevin Walsh. He was Earth's top expert on alien life. Both of them had expected this day to come. "Look at them," Lisa whispered to Kevin. "They're all afraid of us." Kevin nodded. He had studied these aliens for years. He knew their history, their cultures, their fears. "They've been doing things the same way for thousands of years," he said quietly. "Then we showed up and changed everything in a decade." Vexthan held up a crystal tablet. Words appeared in the air above it, glowing in many different languages. "The charges against humanity are these," he read. "First, they have built colonies on 47 worlds without asking permission. Second, they have created new technology that we did not approve. Third, they have refused to follow our trade laws. Fourth, they have started wars with 3 different species." Jake wanted to laugh at that last one. Those had not been wars. They had been pirates trying to steal human cargo ships. But the humans had fought back instead of paying bribes like everyone else did. That had shocked the entire galaxy. And most serious of all, Vexthan's voice grew louder. They refused to accept their place in our society. They were told to be a junior species. They were told to learn from their betters. Instead, they act like they are equal to species that have traveled the stars for millions of years. Murmurs filled the room. Jake heard words in dozens of languages, but he could guess what they meant. The aliens were agreeing with each other. They were happy to finally deal with the human problem. "The Council's decision is final," Vexthan announced. "All humans must return to their home system. They will be contained within 50 light years of Earth. Any human ship found beyond this boundary will be destroyed. All trade with humans will stop. All diplomatic relations will end. This punishment will last forever." The room erupted in cheers. Creatures with tentacles waved them in the air. Bird-like aliens flapped their wings. Even the robots in the room flashed their lights in. Celebration. Jake stood perfectly still. He had prepared for this moment. Earth's leaders had sent him here knowing what would probably happen. They had given him clear instructions on what to do. "Ambassador Morrison," Vexthan called out, "you may now beg for mercy. You may ask us to change our minds. Many species have done this before." Some have been forgiven. Jake looked up at the alien leader. Then he looked around the room at all the creatures celebrating his species' punishment. He saw fear in their eyes, but also relief. They thought they had solved their problem. "I would like to speak," Jake said clearly. The room became quiet. Everyone wanted to hear the human beg. They wanted to hear him promise that his species would be good. They wanted to see him cry. Jake reached up and touched the crystal pin on his chest. It was Earth's membership token in the Galactic Council. Every species had one. It was a symbol of belonging to the greatest civilization in the galaxy. "The human race accepts your decision," Jake said. His voice was calm and strong. "We withdraw." From the Galactic Council immediately. Shocked silence filled the room. This was not what they had expected to hear. Jake pulled the crystal pin from his chest. It was warm in his hand. He had worn it proudly for 3 years. Now it felt like a chain he was finally free to remove. He walked to the front of the room and placed the crystal on Vexthen's desk. "We thank you for this experience," he said. "We have learned much about your civilization. Now we will go home and build our own." Vexthen's tree-like face showed confusion. "You do not understand," he said. "You are being punished. You should be asking forgiveness." Jake smiled. It was not a happy smile, but it was not sad either. "We understand perfectly," he said. "You are afraid of us. You think we are too dangerous to be around. You want us to go away. We agree. But you will be alone," another alien called out. "You will have no one to trade with, no one to teach you, no one to help you." "We will have each other," Jake replied. "That has always been enough." He turned to leave, but Vexthen called after him. "You will regret this decision," the alien leader said. "When you are struggling to survive, when your people are hungry and your ships are broken, you will come back to us. You will beg us to let you return." Jake stopped at the door. He looked back at the room full of aliens who thought they had won. "With respect, High Chancellor," he said, "we humans have a saying. You can't fire someone who already quit." He walked out of the room. The doors closed behind him with a soft sound dot in the gallery. Lisa and Kevin watched the aliens celebrate. They were throwing a party now, happy that the dangerous humans were gone. "Think they're making a mistake?" Lisa asked. Kevin stood up and straightened his jacket. "They just gave us the greatest gift possible," he said. "They set us free from their rules, their fears, and their small thinking. They think they're punishing us, but they just liberated us." As they left the station, Jake was already sending messages to every human ship in the galaxy. The message was simple: "Come home, we have work to do." The aliens celebrated their victory. They had no idea they had just started a revolution. Commander Ryan Torres looked out the window of his ship at the long line of vessels behind him. There were cargo ships, passenger transports, mining haulers, and research craft. All of them were heading home to Earth. All of them were leaving the galaxy they had called home for 10 years. His ship was called Freedom's Call, and it was leading one of the last human convoys back to Earth. The journey would take 6 months through space that was no longer safe for humans. But Ryan was not worried. He had good people with him, and they had a plan. "Commander," his second officer called out, "we're getting a message from the planet New Genesis. Colonial Administrator Amy Carter wants to talk to you." Ryan nodded. "Put her on screen." Amy's face appeared on the main display. She looked tired but determined. Behind her, Ryan could see busy people packing boxes and carrying equipment. "Ryan, we're almost done here," Amy said. 200,000 people have already left the planet. The last group leaves tomorrow morning. "How are they handling it?" Ryan asked. He worried about the colonists. Many of them had lived on New Genesis for their whole lives. It was the only home they had ever known, Amy smiled, but it was a sad smile. Better than I expected. The children are scared, but the adults understand. They know we're not running away. We're going home to prepare. Ryan had visited New Genesis once. It was a beautiful world with blue oceans and green forests. The humans had built amazing cities there with tall towers and flying cars. Now they were taking it all apart. Are you taking everything? He asked. Everything we can carry, Amy replied. The fusion reactors, the atmospheric processors, the hydroponic farms, even the factory equipment. If we built it, we're taking it with us. This was happening all across the galaxy. On 47 different worlds, humans were packing up there. Lives, they were not leaving anything useful behind. Every piece of technology, every valuable resource, every bit of knowledge was being loaded onto ships and sent home. The aliens don't understand, Amy continued. They keep asking why we're taking our weather machines and our farm equipment. They think we should leave it as a gift to show we're sorry. Ryan laughed. What did you tell them? I told them we paid for it with human blood and sweat. If they want weather machines, they can build their own. The conversation ended, and Ryan returned to watching his convoy. Each ship was carrying something important. One held mining equipment from the asteroid belt. Another carried research data from a dozen different worlds. A third was full of alien technology that human scientists had been studying in secret. On Earth's moon, Dr. Kevin Walsh was coordinating the massive operation. His office was filled with screens showing human ships from all over the galaxy. Each screen showed a different convoy heading home. Status report, Kevin called out to his team. Convoy 7 is 3 days from the boundary, one assistant replied. Convoy 12 is picking up the last miners from the Vega system. Convoy 3 is ... Wait. Kevin looked up. What is it? Convoy 3 is reporting alien ships following them. 3 Council patrol vessels. Kevin felt his stomach tighten. Are they threatening our people? No, sir. They're just watching. The convoy commander thinks they're making sure we actually leave. Kevin relaxed a little. The aliens were suspicious, but they were not starting a fight. Yet in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, Admiral Kate Johnson was building something. That would have amazed the alien observers if they had known about it. Hidden in the shadows of large rocks, human workers were constructing secret factories. How many more do we need? Kate asked her chief engineer. Sam Richards. Sam looked at his tablet. 15 more assembly plants, 20 more shipyards, and about 50 mining operations. Give us 2 years, and we'll be producing ships faster than any alien world. Kate smiled. The aliens thought they were punishing humanity by cutting off trade. They did not know that humans had been preparing for this day. Every piece of alien technology brought back to human space was being copied, improved, and mass-produced. The Council thinks we'll come crawling back when we run out of their fancy gadgets, Kate said. They don't understand us very well. Sam replied, We've never needed anyone else to survive. We just needed them to get out of our way. Back in the convoy, Ryan received another message. This one was from a species he did not recognize. The alien looked like a large cat with blue fur and golden eyes. Human commander, the alien said in broken English. My name is Kethmal. I am a trader from the Varani people. I want to buy human products. Your food, your music, your tools. My customers love them. Ryan was surprised. The Council has banned all trade with humans. Kethmal's ears drooped. Yes, and it is very bad for business. Human things are popular in 50 different systems. Now I have customers with money, but nothing to sell them. This was news to Ryan. He had not known that human products were popular with aliens. The Council had never told them about this. I'm sorry, Ryan said. but we can't help you now. Maybe in the future." After the call ended, Ryan thought about what the trader had said. Humans were not just being punished. They were being removed from an economy where they had been successful. The Council was not just afraid of human military power. They were afraid of human competition. On a distant world, Ambassador Zirikith of the Quellan species was having similar thoughts. She was walking through a market where half the shops were empty. All the stores that had sold human goods were closed. "This was a mistake," she said to her aide. "We should not have banished an entire species just because they were different." Her aide looked nervous. "You cannot say such things, Ambassador. The Council has decided." "The Council has decided many foolish things," Zirikith replied. "But this may be the most foolish of all." She remembered the humans she had met. They were loud and aggressive, yes, but they were also creative and brave. They solved problems in ways no one else thought of. They built things that amazed even the oldest species in the galaxy. And now they were all going away. "Mark my words," she told her aide. "We will regret this decision." Meanwhile, in the deepest parts of space, Captain Peter Ward was conducting a secret mission. His science ship, Discovery's Edge, was exploring systems that the Council claimed were empty, but Peter had found something interesting. "Kevin, you need to see this," he said in his report to Earth. "These systems aren't empty. There are planets here with ruins on them. Old cities, abandoned spaceports, broken machinery. Someone lived here once. A lot of someones." Peter had discovered the remains of the Nexari civilization. They had been a peaceful species of traders and explorers. But 50 years ago, they had been declared dangerous by the Council and driven from their homes. Just like the humans were being driven away now. "The Council has done this before," Peter continued in his report. "We're not the first species. They've banished. We're just the first ones powerful enough to fight back if we choose to." As the last human convoy crossed the boundary into their quarantine zone, Ryan sent out a final message to the galaxy. It was broadcast on all frequencies, so every species would hear it. "To the citizens of the galaxy," he said, "humanity is going home. We are not angry, and we are not afraid. We thank you for the chance to learn about your cultures. We hope someday we can meet again as friends instead of subjects and masters." The message was heard on 1,000 worlds. Some aliens cheered. Others felt worried. And a few began to wonder if the Council had made the right choice. As the energy barrier activated around human space, Ryan watched from his ship's bridge. The barrier looked like a wall of blue light stretching across the stars. It was meant to keep humans trapped inside, but Ryan did not feel trapped. He felt free. "Set course for Earth," he ordered. "We have work to do." Behind them, the galaxy celebrated its victory over the dangerous humans. They had no idea that they had just given humanity exactly what it needed most: the freedom to become something greater than anyone had ever imagined. 2 years had passed since the quarantine began. Engineer Tony Blake stood in the control room of Haven Station and smiled at what he saw through the windows. Hundreds of ships moved in organized patterns around the massive space station. They were not the old, clunky vessels humans had used during their council days. These were new ships, sleek and fast and powerful. "Status report," Tony called out to his team. "Shipyard 7 just finished another batch of explorers," his assistant replied. "That's 20 ships this week. Shipyard 12 is working on the Yonthi new battle cruisers." Tony nodded. Haven Station was one of 12 major construction facilities humans had built in just 2 years. They were building ships faster than ever before. More importantly, they were building better ships. Dr. Rachel Kim walked into the control room, carrying a tablet full of data. She was Earth's chief science officer now, and she had amazing news to share. "Tony, you need to see this," she said, excitedly. "The new drive system is working perfectly. Our ships are now 30% faster than anything the Council has." "How is that possible?" Tony asked. 2 years ago, our ships were the slowest in the galaxy," Rachel smiled. "Because we're not following their rules anymore. The Council has safety regulations that slow everything down. They want ships that are comfortable and safe. We want ships that work." She showed him pictures on her tablet. The new human ships looked dangerous. They had sharp angles and dark colors. They were built for speed and efficiency, not comfort. "No artificial gravity, no luxury cabins, no fancy dining rooms," Rachel explained. "Just engines, weapons, and shields. Our crews wear environmental suits during missions. It's not comfortable, but it's effective." This was the key to humanity's rapid progress. Without the Council's rules holding them back, human engineers had redesigned everything. They built ships that other species would consider primitive and uncomfortable. But these ships were incredibly fast and surprisingly tough. On Mars, factory supervisor Carlos Martinez was overseeing the production lines that built these new vessels. His factories worked around the clock, turning out ships at a rate that would have amazed alien observers. "We need more steel," Carlos called out to his foreman. "The Earth factories can't keep up with demand." "Don't worry, boss," the foreman replied. "The asteroid miners are bringing in a new load tomorrow. Plus, we just figured out how to make our own version of that alien supermetal." Carlos nodded. This was another advantage of the quarantine. Humans had been forced to become self-sufficient. They could no longer buy materials from alien worlds. So they had learned to make everything themselves. And in many cases, they had improved on the original designs. In deep space, rookie pilot Jenny Shaw was testing humanity's newest creation. Her ship, Pioneer's Dream, was completely invisible to alien sensors. She was flying through a system controlled by the Council, but no one knew she was there. "This is incredible," she whispered into her communicator. "I'm only 1,000 kilometers from their patrol ships, and they can't see me." The stealth technology was another breakthrough. Human scientists had studied how alien sensors worked, then designed ships that could avoid detection. It was not magic. It was just good engineering combined with creative thinking. Jenny's mission was to gather information about what was happening in the galaxy. What she found surprised her. "Base, this is Jenny," she reported. "You're not going to believe this. The Talani and the Vretics are fighting a full-scale war. The Council says the galaxy is peaceful, but I'm looking at burning planets down here." Captain Peter Ward, commanding the science vessel Discovery's Edge, was making even more disturbing discoveries. He had found the Nexari refugees hiding in an abandoned system, afraid to show themselves to the galaxy. "How long have you been hiding here?" Peter asked their leader, a tall being with silver skin and 4 arms. 50 years, the Nexari replied sadly. "The Council declared us dangerous because we would not pay their taxes. They drove us from our homes and told everyone we were criminals. We have been in exile ever since." Peter felt angry. These people seemed peaceful and kind. Their only crime had been refusing to obey orders. "Why didn't you fight back?" he asked. The Nexari leader looked confused. "Fight? Against the entire galaxy? We are not warriors, human. We are traders and explorers. So were we," Peter said, "until they gave us no choice." He made a decision that would change everything. "Would you like our protection?" he asked. "We can't bring you back to your old homes, but we can make sure no one bothers you here." The Nexari were amazed. No species had ever offered to help them before. Most were afraid of angering the Council. Back on Earth, President Helen Foster was reading intelligence reports from Agent Alex Turner. The news was very interesting. The Council is having problems, Alex reported. 17 different species are asking questions about the human quarantine. They want to know why an entire race was punished just for being independent. What kind of questions? President Foster asked. The Varani want to know why they can't trade with humans anymore. The Quailari are asking why they need council permission to explore new systems. The Zethari are wondering why they have to pay taxes to species they've never met. President Foster smiled. The human example is spreading. It gets better, Alex continued. 3 species have formally complained about council policies. The Kelani have stopped sending their tribute payments, and the Mordani have started building their own ships instead of buying them from council-approved manufacturers. This was exactly what human leaders had hoped would happen. By showing that independence was possible, they were inspiring other species to question the system. Meanwhile, in the quarantine zone, Admiral Susan Parker was preparing for what everyone knew was coming. Long-range sensors had detected massive alien fleets gathering near the boundary. They're not going to let us stay free, she told her staff. The Council is realizing that we're becoming more dangerous in quarantine than we ever were as members. How? Many ships do they have? Asked her second-in-command. About 3,000 from 20 different species, Admiral Parker replied. It's the largest fleet in galactic history. And how many do we have? Admiral Parker smiled grimly. 800. But I think we have some advantages they don't know about. She was right. The humans had spent 2 years preparing for this fight. Their ships were faster, their weapons were more advanced, and their crews were better trained. More importantly, they had something the aliens lacked, the absolute determination to remain. Dr. Kevin Walsh had one more surprise for the approaching fleet. He had been working on something that would shock the entire galaxy. The neural interface system is ready, he reported to Admiral Parker. Our pilots can now control their ships with their thoughts. Reaction time is instant. Accuracy is perfect. This technology would have been forbidden under Council law. It was considered too dangerous to connect human brains directly to ship computers. But humans no longer cared what the Council considered dangerous. There's more, Kevin continued. We've developed ships that don't need life support. The crew wears full environmental suits and connects to the ship through neural links. These vessels are faster, lighter, and deadlier than anything in the galaxy. Admiral Parker looked at the tactical displays showing the approaching alien fleet. 3,000 ships against 800. Under normal circumstances, it would be a massacre. But these were not normal circumstances. The aliens were coming to fight humans who had been told they were not allowed to exist. They were coming to battle a species that had been given 2 years to prepare with no rules to hold them back. Send a message to all human ships, Admiral Parker ordered. Tell them the aliens are coming to finish what they started. Tell them it's time to show the galaxy what free humans can do. As the message spread throughout human space, people felt not fear, but excitement. They had been trapped behind an energy barrier for 2 years, building and planning and preparing. Now they would finally get the chance to prove that banishing. Humanity had been the biggest mistake in galactic history. The aliens thought they were coming to destroy a broken, desperate species. They had no idea they were about to face something the galaxy had never seen before. Humans with nothing left. To lose and everything to prove. The real test was about to begin. The alien fleet arrived at the quarantine boundary like a storm of metal and energy. 3,000 ships from 20 different species, all united in their mission to destroy humanity once and for all. High Chancellor Vexton commanded the fleet from his massive flagship, confident that this would be the end of the human problem. Admiral Susan Parker watched their approach from the bridge of her command ship, indomitable. Around her, the human defense fleet waited in perfect formation. 800 ships against 3,000. The numbers looked impossible, but Susan was not worried. "Open a channel to the alien fleet," she ordered. Vexthan's tree-like face appeared. On the main screen, behind him, Susan could see dozens of other alien commanders from various species. "Humans," Vexthan announced, "your time of defiance is over. Surrender now, and we will make your extinction quick and painless. Continue to resist, and we will make you suffer." Susan smiled calmly. "High Chancellor, I have a message from humanity. You're not locked in here with us." "We're locked in here with you?" Vexthan looked confused. "You are outnumbered 4-1. Your ships are primitive. Your technology is inferior. What can you possibly do against the might of the Galactic Fleet?" "Let me show you," Susan replied, and cut the transmission. The battle began with the aliens attacking in traditional formation. Their ships moved slowly and predictably, following tactics that had worked for thousands of years. They expected the humans to either run or fight in the same conventional way. Instead, the human ships scattered like leaves in the wind. They moved in patterns that made no sense to alien minds, diving and weaving through space at impossible angles. There, pilots seemed to ignore the laws of physics. Commander Nick Stevens led Squadron 7 in the first attack. His 12 fighters approached the alien flagship at speeds that should have been suicidal. But at the last second, they split apart and struck from 6 different directions at once. "How are they moving like that?" An alien captain screamed over the communication channels. "No ship can turn that quickly." The answer was in the neural interfaces that connected human pilots directly to their ships. Thoughts became actions instantly. There was no delay between decision and movement. Human fighters danced through space. Like living things, impossible to predict or catch. The alien weapons were powerful, but they could not hit targets that moved like angry insects. Human ships seemed to know where the energy beams would be before they were fired. They slipped between attacks that should have destroyed them. Meanwhile, human weapons found their targets with perfect accuracy. Energy bolts that adapted in real time to penetrate alien shields. Missiles that changed course mid-flight to strike weak points. Weapons that learned from each shot and became more effective. "Their shields are down," Nick reported as his squadron crippled an alien cruiser, moving to the next target. But the real shock came when the alien fleet encountered humanity's secret weapon. Ships appeared that looked like nothing anyone had ever seen before. They were dark, angular vessels with no windows, no running lights, no signs of life aboard them. Dr. Kevin Walsh watched from the command center as his skeleton ships entered the battle. These vessels had no life support, no gravity systems, no comfort features at all. They were pure weapons platforms operated by crews in environmental suits connected to the ship through neural links. "Skeleton Squadron is engaging the enemy," reported the squadron leader, his voice coming through the neural link. "All systems optimal." These ships moved like ghosts through the battle. They were faster than anything else in space because they carried no unnecessary weight. They struck with precision that terrified the aliens, then vanished before return fire could reach them. "What are those things?" An alien commander demanded over the communications. "There's no one alive on those." "Ships. There are crews aboard," Susan Parker replied calmly. "They're just not concerned with comfort or safety, only with winning." The alien fleet found itself facing an enemy that fought by completely different rules. Human tactics made no sense. Their ships should not have been able to do what they were doing. Their crews seemed to welcome the chaos of battle instead of fearing it. Captain Mike Rodriguez commanded one of the heavy cruisers in the human line. His ship, Freedom's Hammer, was built like a fortress, but it moved like a fighter. When 3 alien dreadnoughts tried to surround him, he did something that shocked everyone watching. He rammed the nearest alien ship, but this was not a suicidal attack. Human engineers had designed their ships to survive impacts that would destroy alien vessels. Rodriguez's ship smashed through the alien hull, emerged from the other side, and kept fighting. Ramming attack successful, Rodriguez reported calmly. Enemy vessel destroyed, moving to engage next target. The aliens had never seen anything like it. In their culture, ramming was a last resort, a sign of desperation. But humans used it. As a standard tactic, their ships built specifically to survive and continue fighting after collision. They're insane. An alien captain screamed. They're actually trying to ram us. No, Vex then realized with growing horror. They're not insane. They're just better at this than we are. The tide of battle shifted quickly. The alien fleet, designed for conventional warfare, could not adapt to human tactics. Their commanders had learned strategy from books written thousands of years ago. Human commanders learned from necessity and invented new tactics in the middle of battle. Pilot Jenny Shaw, now commanding her own squadron, led an attack on the alien supply ships. Instead of engaging them directly, her fighters used a tactic called swarming. Dozens of small ships attacked from every direction at once, overwhelming the alien defenses through sheer numbers and speed. Supply convoy neutralized, she reported. The aliens won't be getting any ammunition or fuel for their remaining ships. But the most devastating moment came when Admiral Parker deployed humanity's newest creation. A single ship, larger than anything else in the human fleet, appeared at the edge of the battle zone. What is that? Vex then demanded, staring at the sheer, massive vessel on his screens. The ship was called Liberty's Price, and it was humanity's first dreadnought built entirely with post-quarantine technology. It was not just larger than alien ships, it was fundamentally different. Where alien vessels tried to do many things adequately, this ship was designed to do one thing perfectly: destroy enemy fleets. Fire, Admiral Parker ordered, the dreadnoughts. Main weapons activated. But instead of the energy beams the aliens expected, something new emerged. The weapons created tears in space itself, opening tiny holes that sucked in everything nearby. Alien ships were pulled apart by forces they could not understand or resist. Impossible, Vex then whispered. No species has that technology. We do now, Susan Parker replied. The battle was over in less than 6 hours. Of the 3,000 alien ships that had attacked, fewer than 500 escaped. The human fleet had lost only 37 vessels, and most of those crews had been rescued. But the real victory was not measured in ships destroyed. The entire galaxy had watched the battle through long-range sensors and communication relays. Every species had seen what happened when the supposedly primitive humans were finally forced to fight. Send a message to the surviving alien ships, Admiral Parker ordered. Tell them they are free to leave our space. But if they return with hostile intent, we will not be as merciful next time. As the broken alien fleet retreated, Vex then sent one final transmission. This is not over, humans. The galaxy will unite. Against you. You have made enemies of everyone. Susan Parker's response was broadcast across the entire galaxy. We did not choose to be your enemies, High Chancellor. You chose to be ours. But our quarantine zone is now under human protection. Any species seeking refuge from Council oppression is welcome here. The message reached every world in the galaxy. Species that had been oppressed by the Council for centuries heard it and began to hope. Pirates and raiders who had terrorized trade routes heard it and became afraid. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted in a single day. On distant worlds, aliens looked up at the stars and wondered if the age of the Council was finally ending. Some were excited by the possibility of freedom. Others were terrified of the chaos that might follow. But everyone agreed on one thing. The humans were no longer the galaxy's problem. They had become something far more dangerous and far more inspiring. They had become the galaxy's hope. 1 year after the Great Battle, Captain Mike Rodriguez stood on the bridge of Freedom Station and watched ships from 12 different species dock at the massive facility. The station was unlike anything ever built in the galaxy. It was part military base, part trade center, and part refugee camp, all rolled into one. Daily report, Mike called out to his communications officer. 17 more ships arrived today, sir, the officer replied. Nexari refugees from the Outer Rim, Koilari traders fleeing council taxation, and a group of Kelani explorers who want to map systems beyond council control. Mike nodded with satisfaction. Freedom Station had become the heart of something amazing, the Free Worlds Alliance. What had started as a simple human quarantine zone was now home to 23 different species who had chosen independence over submission. In his office aboard the station, Ambassador Jake Morrison was meeting with representatives from 6 species who wanted to join the alliance. Unlike his old job with the council, these meetings were friendly and relaxed. We offer full membership to any species that accepts our basic principles, Jake explained to the group. Freedom to govern yourselves, freedom to trade with anyone you choose, and freedom to explore wherever you want to go. A Koilari delegate raised one of her 4 arms. What do you want in return? She asked. The council demanded tribute payments and forced labor. What is the human price for protection? Jake smiled. There is no price. We believe that free people are stronger than enslaved people. We believe that cooperation works better than force. If you want to trade with us, we welcome it. If you want to share technology, we would be grateful. But if you just want to be left alone, that is fine too. The delegates looked at each other in amazement. They had never heard of an alliance that asked for nothing in return for membership. Meanwhile, in the Innovation Exchange, Director Kate Walsh was watching something that would have shocked the old council scientists. Humans and aliens were working together on projects that neither group could have completed alone. The new jump gate design is finished, reported Dr. Lisa Chun, a human physicist working with 3 alien scientists. By combining human engineering with Nexari mathematics and Koilari energy systems, we can build gates that are twice as fast and half as expensive as the old council models. Kate smiled as she watched the mixed teams working together. How many systems can we connect with the new design? All of them, Dr. Chun replied excitedly. Every world in the Free Alliance, plus any neutral systems that want to join our network. We can create a trade route that completely bypasses council space. This was exactly what Kate had hoped for. The Free Alliance was not just surviving. Without the council, they were building something better. Their technology was advancing faster than ever before because species were free to share ideas without bureaucratic restrictions. On the industrial side, Sam Richards was overseeing the construction of massive shipyards throughout Alliance space. His factories were producing vessels for any species that wanted them, using designs that combined the best ideas from multiple civilizations. Production report, Sam called out to his foreman. We finished 12 exploration ships for the Kelani. This week, the foreman replied. Next week, we start on the hospital ships the Nexari ordered, and the Koilari want to buy 50 cargo haulers. Sam was amazed by the demand. In just 1 year, the Free Alliance had become the galaxy's most productive industrial region. Species were abandoning expensive council contractors and buying better ships from Alliance manufacturers. But the real revolution was happening in the minds of ordinary people throughout the galaxy. On 1,000 different worlds, aliens were asking questions that had been forbidden for centuries. On the Varani homeworld, Trader Kathmol was meeting with other merchants in secret. Why do we need council permission to visit new systems? He asked. Why do we have to pay taxes to species we have never met? Why can't we trade with whoever we want? Similar conversations were happening everywhere. The Mordani were refusing to send their young people to serve in the council military. The Zethari had stopped paying tribute to the central government. 3 entire sectors had declared independence and requested alliance protection. The Council was facing the greatest crisis in its history. High Chancellor Vixton called emergency meetings every day, but none of his advisors knew how to stop the growing rebellion. 17 more systems have joined the alliance this month, reported his intelligence chief. The humans are not even trying to recruit them. Species are asking to join on their own. Vexton felt old and tired. How is this possible? We defeated the humans for thousands of years. We kept them contained and controlled. How did they become so powerful? They are not more powerful, his military advisor replied. They are offering something we never offered, the right to choose. On Earth, President Helen Foster was reading reports that would have seemed impossible just 3 years ago. Humanity had gone from galactic outcasts to the leaders of the largest alliance in known space. The numbers are incredible, reported Intelligence Director Alex Turner. 47 species have joined the alliance. Another 30 are considering membership. The Council only has direct control over about half the systems they claim to govern. President Foster looked out her window at the busy spaceport below. Ships from dozens of different worlds were landing and taking off constantly. Earth had become the unofficial capital of free space. Any word from the Council? She asked. Alex smiled. Actually, yes. We received a very interesting message yesterday. He handed her a crystal tablet containing an official communication. As she read it, President Foster's eyes grew wide with surprise. They want to negotiate? She asked. More than that, Alex replied. They want to surrender. The message was from a group of moderate council members, led by Ambassador Zirakith. They were offering to reform the entire galactic government, giving member species the freedoms that the Alliance enjoyed. But the most shocking part came at the end. The council delegates were asking if they could join the Free Alliance as equal members, abandoning their claims to universal authority. President Foster called an emergency meeting of the Alliance leadership. Representatives from all member species gathered in the Great Hall of Freedom Station to discuss this unprecedented offer. They created this mess, argued the Kelani representative. Why should we trust them to fix it? Because people can change, replied Jake Morrison. The same way we changed from angry outcasts to galactic leaders. The debate continued for hours. Some species wanted revenge for centuries of oppression. Others hoped for reconciliation and peace. But in the end, they reached a decision that surprised everyone. We will accept their application for membership, announced the Alliance Council. But they must meet the same standards as everyone else. No special treatment, no guaranteed positions, no claims to authority over other members. When the decision was transmitted to Council space, the response was immediate. Thousands of systems declared their independence from the old government and applied for alliance membership. The great galactic empire that had existed for millennia dissolved in a matter of days. High Chancellor Vexton sent one final message to humanity. You have won, he said simply. We hope you will be better rulers than we were. Jake Morrison's response was broadcast throughout the galaxy. We are not rulers, he said. We are partners. The age of empires is over. The age of cooperation has begun. The story ended not with conquest, but with transformation. The quarantine zone that was meant to contain humanity had become the birthplace of a new kind of civilization. One based on freedom instead of fear, cooperation instead of control, and hope instead of submission. Children from dozens of species now played together on space stations throughout Alliance territory. Their parents worked side by side to build a better future for everyone. And somewhere in the vast cosmos, new species were discovering that there was finally a place where they could be, free to choose their own destiny. The humans had not just survived their banishment. They had used it to change the galaxy forever.